Alright guys, this is absolutely huge. This is a galaxy brain move that you don't want to miss out on for Diablo 4. This is going to not only save you gold, but get you powers that you cannot normally get by rolling another class. So this is a thread that blew up. It was uploaded a couple of hours ago. It says, pro tip, you can use alts to enchant stats on your gear you can't roll. So what does this essentially mean? Each character class, depending on the item, you're going to be able to roll certain things that you cannot roll in other classes. So for example, in the Helm department, Barbarian has the Fury mechanic. That's the only class that can roll Fury. But there are other things that you may want to get. Like for example, if you're playing a build that can do things with Barrier, that you can get Barrier on a Barbarian, right? So you can do things that you aren't going to normally be able to see that you can do. Now, this is going to be so huge for a lot of different builds. If you played Diablo 3, you may have seen the Pants Swampland Waders. These were arguably the best in slot for some builds, but you couldn't just play any character and get it. You had to actually get this on a Witch Doctor, then you would roll off the int usually, and then you would have a pair of pants that had bonus elemental damage or poison or whatever the case need be. But the point is that this has existed in previous Diablo games where you'd actually get an item on one character and then equip it on another. Now there are some rules to it, so it's important that you guys stick around. I'm going to try to make this like as fast as possible. But what I'm trying to say is there are certain roles, and I'll go over like an example that would be huge. So if you've been playing the Barbarian, or if you played any class that can give you damage that doesn't normally roll in your class, you may not be able to scale, let's say, fire damage, right? So these are a pair of unique gloves, arguably the best gloves in the game for Barbarian. They do some sort of fire damage, right? But you can't really just get fire damage on your gear as Barbarian. You can see some classes will have fire res, you can see there's fire resistance, and then on top of that there's extra fire damage, but that only rolls on the sorceress. Well, where do we get it on Barbarian? Again, it's sorceress again. Over on the boots we can get fire resistance, but there isn't any way to get fire damage if you're playing on Barbarian. It's on the sorceress, and it's in the category of like ring or different categories, right? But if we were to get Gore's devastating grips, we could actually get bonus fire damage if we rolled this item on a sorceress. So what you would do is you would create another character just so you can get those rolls. But it goes further than that, because some classes, and specifically the sorceress, has so many elemental types that it makes it difficult to roll the correct affix on your gear. So let's take this for example. Let's say you're playing a build and you just need a very specific stat. Like you are trying to craft a helm, and let's say you are on the sorceress. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that it can roll. But if I'm playing the necromancer, I can only roll essence, decrepify, ranks of Iron Maiden in that roll. So let's say I'm not even playing a class at all that's related to the necromancer. Let's say I'm playing barbarian. I may not want these stats, so I lower the pool of the possible outcomes by rolling on a necromancer. I now will not, if I'm playing like let's say a sorceress, and I don't want these rolls. Like, I don't want any of these, okay? I want, let's say, I want life on kill, or I want total armor, or max life, right? Or more importantly, if you're running a helmet, let's say you want cooldown reduction, you lower the amount of other possibilities of other things to actually be hit on it. So hopefully this guide makes sense, and you guys will be able to do a lot more with the game. And it goes further than this, because this is, again, galaxy brain stuff for builds, and this is what makes me so excited, because I play a lot of action RPGs. If you guys played Path of Exile, you know how complex the game can get when you do like things like Shock, when you do things like Freeze or Brittle. This is where it becomes even more insane. Okay, so we have damage bonuses, right? Damages bonuses exist on pieces of gear, where you can do like bonus damage, let's say damage with like ranged weapons or something. Well, like Barbarian doesn't really have a ranged weapon. Maybe there's a certain legendary power that shoots out something that can count as range. This is where it gets even crazier, because you have nothing to scale that, like let's say burning damage. I'm guessing Barb has no like burning damage or poison damage, because the class doesn't like roll with it. It has like bonus bleed damage. But let's say you're playing a character class that has no bleed damage. Well, you could swap to that character class, then roll onto it. Now, I do got to explain one thing, and this is something that was kind of mentioned in, I think it was one of these posts. It's eventually in here, but I'm going to give you guys like TLDR. If the item says that you can only equip it on a sorceress, if you craft a rogue thing on it, it will not convert it into a rogue. But if it says that you can only use this on a sorceress, you can't just craft on it and then have it roll to another class. Whatever class that it's locked to, it will be locked to it. So you can still roll on the item, but that is something important to go ahead and mention. It won't change if you roll something on it to swap to another class. It'll always be that class if it's that particular item. But yeah, this opens up the doors to a lot of damage types, again, like poison, Like, you get damage reduction from enemies that are poisoned, let's say on Druid, or you get it on Rogue, but you can't get it on another character. What if you have a special legendary item that could poison, right? Again, or even group play. This could be really big, and there's going to be so many new builds that come out off of this, and I'm really excited to see what people come up with, because again, certain classes cannot roll certain things, and on top of that, you're going to be able to save gold, because you don't have to roll as much, because there's not as much things. Anyways, lots of Galaxy Brain stuff to go over, but I just want to make this quick, short little video. But if this guide and video helped you guys out, drop a like on it if you're new here. Hey, subscribe, turn that bell so you don't miss out, and let me know, guys, what you plan to do with this, because, again, there is so much more to do with this. It's going to be insane. Diablo 4 now is actually super complex if you make some crazy builds with it. But anyways, take care. I'll see you in the next video. Check the pinned comment for even more Diablo content.